President Yoweri Museveni and his counterpart, President of the Republic of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, are privately talking to each other. The two bush war fighters, in a recent contact, deliberated on measures of stopping the spread of COVID-19.
Now, East African, I spoke to His Excellency Kagame quite early on, and we agreed that him, as the chairperson of the East African community now, will get the ministers of health to video conference and agree on some measures. And they did. They did. So, of course, these are different countries. They may not do exactly the same things, but I think there are certain things they agreed on.
The sign is an affirmation of the eased relations, indicating that the two heads of state are reaching out to each other more often than publicly known. It was unthinkable months ago that the duo could be speaking to another as tempers flared from Kigali.
Going to your knees is your choice. I think it's a choice. There are people who make choice to be brought to their knees. But that's a no-go area for me. You can't be brought to your knees. I can't. I don't think our country should ever be brought to our knees.
Rwanda, after days of denying claims of issuing travel advisories to all nationals and restriction of exports from Uganda.
Passenger vehicles from Rwanda, buses, tourist vans, were being stopped on the other side, checked, and Rwandan nationals were being asked to vacate the vehicles and return to Rwanda.
Rwanda claims the measures were because Kampala was hosting elements hostile to the regime. Another claim was the nationals were being incarcerated in Uganda.
There is no witch hunt against Rwandese in Uganda. We would like to have a conversation underscoring the need for normalization of activities at the common borders.
The two brotherly partners of the East African community entered history yet again by avoiding physical confrontation. A tipping point was reached after repeated shootings by the Rwandan forces of nationals from either side of the shared international border. The tension between the states is a repeat of history, except that this time it is Rwanda that is aggrieved.
As friends, as a sister country, as a friend, by the way, we are so close to the extent that this one couldn't have even happened. How you have really realized it, how you have seen it, I don't think each one of us really could have accepted it. But just because there are people whom we lead, there are people who are, I don't know how I can say, but there are people who just crosses, and it has always been done. It has always been done in front of the leadership, in front of each and everyone from the side of Uganda. So we need to talk to our citizens. The other side, it's good that you have brought us the deceased, but it's better again you bring us some more that are being held in your territory there. There are so many people. Even yesterday, but one, you took some other two. They are in Uganda. The way you have brought us the dead body is better than you bring us even those who are still alive.
In 2001, the Kampala government had a similar claim against Rwanda, accusing the state for sponsoring an opposition candidate. The two countries had not healed from the bloody war in Kisangani in the Democratic Republic of Congo in 2000, in which the country's forces were involved in 6 days of straight clashes. This was the second time the forces from the two countries engaged in a firefight in the same area after the 1999 clashes. Kisangani, the city of Tsopo province, was nearly brought down by the conflict that Museveni would wonder why the country's forces came under heavy fire from the Rwandan forces. Kisangani, the city of Tsopo province, was nearly brought down by the conflict that Museveni would wonder why the country's forces came under heavy fire from the Rwandan forces. Both forces were each backing a rebel group to help topple the former dictator Mobutu Sese Seko by bringing to power Laurent Kabila. In an address to Parliament, Museveni indicated that Uganda never wanted to go to war with the neighboring state in the spirit of Pan-Africanism. Although Uganda appeared to have suffered defeat, reading from Museveni's script, this was so because the country's forces only engaged in a defensive role. The avoidance of the latest and past events that have brought the countries to a tipping point of bloodshed signifies there will never be any, at least in the times of Museveni and Kagame, who fought in a protracted war that ushered the National Resistance Army to power.
Muntu Mucha Oyera, swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Republic of Uganda, and that I will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution. So help me God.